I want to beg you to stay with me and listen carefully in this video. Now, I came across a post on social media that was posted by this their brother, Mike Arnold. He said something that shocked me, and that is why I want to show you now. Please stay with me. Now, according to what he posted, look at this. He said, okay, he said, I keep hearing the same plea. When will the United States or the Britain recognize Biafra? Listen carefully, please. When will they sanction Tinubu? When will they free Mazen Nnamdi Kanu? This is the question people are asking. Oh, when will US come? When will Britain come? When will they sanction Tinubu? When will they come and arrest Tinubu? When will all this happen? Listen to this, he said. The honest answer from a man who has been inside the rooms where these decisions are made, they will not. Did you hear that? They will not. Not now. Not without a campaign you have not yet started. Not without a campaign you have not yet started. What this simply means is that you must start a campaign before these people can come to do anything. You must do something before God can see, the actions you are taking and help you. You can't just stay in your comfort zone and want other countries or want God to come and help you. Please pay attention to this news. It went further to say, here is the truth. Based on deep knowledge of the system and the historical record of every liberation movement in the modern world, hear this. No begging, no court filing, no friendly politician, and no lobbying campaign will gain you anything at all if there is not yet a global awakening behind it. If there is no global awakening behind what you want. But in this case, no global awakening, and yet we want something. Listen to this, he said, without that awakening, every dollar spent on advocacy and every hour spent on social media tagging members of Congress is wasted. Most of us are fond of that. We post something, we come on social media, we rant and rant, we post Donald Trump. We tag Donald Trump, we tag US congressmen. They are all waste of time if we have not, start campaigning for what we want. Finally, he said, this is not defeatism, it is realism. The work matters, but it only matters when the foundation underneath it exists. The work matters. I saw this post, I thought about it, and no. This post gave me, a sense of action. And that is why I say I must share it with my people. Because most times we are fond of that, oh, God is going to do everything for us. That is why you see people pray from morning to night on something they can actually work out themselves. Forgetting that part of the Bible that says that God has even given you the power to get everything you want. God said you can work out your salvation with what? Fear and trembling. And you see, we are living in this part of the world where we want God, where we want angels, where we want, Satan to die before God can do or before we get something. Not putting in actions the things we are supposed to do. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in prayer. I believe that God can do all things. However, God has also given us that power to do the things we are supposed to do as human beings. Oh yes, God has given us that power. God has given us that strength. God has given us that wisdom to do the things that we are supposed to do. As Biafrans, as people who want their own nation, what have we done? What have we done? Nothing. And yet, every day we wake up, we want Biafra. As people who want a better Nigeria, which I do too, I keep saying it. We want a better leadership in Nigeria. What are we doing? Now, we have gone through the side of protest. It's not working because they will shoot you. What else are you planning, or what else is in your plan? Nothing. But yet we want a better something. We want a better Nigeria. We want things to change. There is this scientist that said that when you keep doing the same thing, you keep what? You keep getting the same results. When you keep doing the same thing, you keep getting the same results. And that is what we see that is happening in this part of the world. We keep doing the same thing, hoping, wishing we get a different result. But it doesn't work that way. Obviously, it doesn't work. Go and check other nations, how they get better. Go and read the history of China. Even this United States, you want their partnership. Go and read how, they got to where they are today. But in this part of the world, we want to get something for nothing. So you watching me now, apart from the struggle, apart from a better Nigeria, in your own personal life, what are you putting in to make sure that things balance for you? What are you putting in? What are you doing? What is that thing that if God should ask you now, okay, what will I bless you upon? What will you present to God? What? Most times, we are just there, hoping that one day we wake up and we see dollars around us. Holy Jesus. Anyway, I'm going to allow you to listen to Mike Arnold, what he said once again. I didn't plan to talk up to this extent. I didn't plan to say all this, but I know that somebody's been blessed. So you have to reason, you have to think that whatever you want in this life, you have to work it out. You have to work it out. You must work. You must put in action. You must put in action. And that is why God said in the scriptures that I will bless the works of your hand. He didn't just say I will bless you. I will bless the work of your hand. It means that you have to be doing something. In that thing you want, what are you doing that God will bless? Anyway, just take a little time. Listen to Mike Arnold. Can you do well to drop your comment in the comment section what to think? All right? Listen to him, please.
Did you ever raise the issue of Nnamdi Kanu?
No, I wasn't well versed on that point. And this was in 2024, so he hadn't been convicted and sentenced to life in Sokoto at that point. But I raised vociferously the issue of the displaced, and that has been and remains my number one motivate. Everything I'm doing, people ask, why are you doing this? Well, I want my friends in the displacement camp to be able to go home in peace. That's what it comes down to. And the deeper you get down that hole, that rabbit hole, the more you realize that the only way that can ever happen is if this entire system is torn down and a new one put in its place. They'll never go home in peace under this current system, ever. It is not possible.
Have you ever raised the issue of constitutional reform with anyone within the Nigerian government?
Not to my recollection, not directly, no.
Are you still in contact with anyone within the Nigerian government?
I got their WhatsApp numbers, but will they talk to me? I don't know. After my press conference on October 14th, that same day, the Nigerian government convened an emergency Senate meeting to address it. I'm sort of persona non grata. If I was a Nigerian, I would have been killed a long time ago.
Why does Mazi Nnamdi Kanu continue to be regarded as a polarizing figure in Nigeria today? And what does that say about Nigerians' handling of dissent and separatist movements?
What's interesting, and I never studied his teachings that much at all, really. But I find that I'm saying a lot of the same things he said. Like I said, I didn't do any archaeology to find this stuff. It's all in public record. But he spoke truth about the evil regime, about the machinery behind it, there are statements that I know he made that out of context, I have a hard time defending, but I'm not going to, like I said, out of context, I'm not going to get into that. I do know this, Nelson Mandela was a lot more of a violent person with a history and track record of violence than Kanu ever was. And just the way he was detained, he dual citizen, British citizen on British soil, like you, speaking words on a podcast like you, visited Kenya, and they illegally abducted him. No extradition treaty. It's been criticized by the Kenyan government, by the international community. Illegally returned and shows up in Nigeria. held for a long time, and then finally put on trial under a law that was no longer on the books. No law. And a kangaroo court, and he was sentenced to life in Sokoto prison. He's in the Sultan's private little collection up there, is what it is. Separate his case from the idea of separatism. Just look at, here's a human being, for words spoken in Great Britain, a British citizen, illegally abducted and then put through a kangaroo court, tried and convicted under a non-existent law, and then sentenced to life in the Caliphate prison. That's not right. That is injustice. That is tyranny. That's grotesque. His background is a lot more peaceful than Nelson Mandela's ever was. And I believe he will emerge as the Nelson Mandela of this. His crime was speaking truth to power, and they couldn't stand it. So yeah, they're going to continue to call him a polarizing figure, call him a terrorist and all that stuff, which is about as hypocritical as you can get. The terrorists calling the guy, I put it this way, when you're in the darkness, turning on the light is terror. Truth is terror to darkness. And so, yeah, from that regard, he's a terrorist. He spoke truth to reveal their evil plans. He's polarizing because he spoke the truth in a nation of liars.
So this week, the U.S. a member of U.S. Congress raised the issue of Nnamdi Kanu's detention and treatment and urged Secretary of State Rubio to liaise with the Nigerian government. Why do you think the issue of Maxi Nnamdi Kanu is still something that is popular in the U.S. political discourse?
I don't know that it is. I mean, one representative, my understanding is, and it could go somewhere. I hope it does. But I see online, the U.S. Congress. No, one congressman out of 400 and some odd filed a resolution. I don't believe there's a co-sponsor to it yet. So it hasn't been even brought to committee, and it certainly hasn't passed committee or the Congress yet. But it has been filed. So that's something. It's a human rights issue. Fundamentally, it's a human rights issue. The United States, if you recollect, Riley Moore came out and demanded the release of Sunday Jackson for the man who was convicted for self-defense. It's human rights. And again, separating his case from his call for separation, which, looking at the case on the merits of the case, it is nothing but a grotesque human rights violation, is nothing but abject, lawless tyranny. And the U.S. has a history of standing up for human rights and standing against tyranny. So that's a proud tradition, and I'm glad that the representative did that, and I hope it goes somewhere. It's an injustice.
Do you think the British government have done enough, given that Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen? If you think they haven't done enough, why do you think they haven't done enough?
I don't believe they've done anything. I think one word from them could get him released. They don't want him released because he was exposing their complicity in the Biafran genocide. The British are the ones that set up they merged the North and the South, which should never have been. These were independent nations. The Hausa Nation, the Yoruba Nation, the Igbo Nation, and all the others. They came after the Berlin Conference, where the European powers carved up Africa like the Christmas turkey with not one African person present, no African interests represented. They carved it up. They were given this area. And eventually, for administrative efficiency, they just said, we're going to make it one. And it was the administrator's girlfriend who picked the name Nigeria. This will be cute. And they designed it, they rigged it for the power to, it's all documented, rigged it for the power to be under control of the caliphate and shackled all these other to it, designed to fail like they did elsewhere in the world, all over the world, India, Pakistan, and all these other amalgamations they did, designed to fail. Nigeria is the last largest remaining one. And they did it so they could loot their oil. And if you look at it, they've looted in current terms about $2 trillion worth of oil from Nigeria in the last 60 years. It's paid off for them. They are guilty of genocide. They knew what was happening. They supported what was happening. They armed it. When the federal government was shooting down Red Cross aid planes to bring food to starving children. The British government supported it and swept it under the rug. So yeah, I've done the math. If Biafra ever does get its independence, they will have a legitimate reparations claim for somewhere around $6 trillion. Legitimate, precedented. The Biafran, if it ever got its independence, it could, in international court, sue successfully reparations up to, I think it's 3 times the British GDP that they've looted and caused damages. So yeah, they're going to do everything they can to keep Nnamdi Kanu in prison and keep him silenced. And anybody else that speaks up, they're going to sweep it under the rug. They're going to hide it because they're guilty of genocide. I don't believe that there's, if you look at it on a global scale, a more evil regime in the history of the world than the British Empire. And I never saw that until I stood in Biafra. I believe what's happening in Great Britain today, and I hate to say it, and you would know better, but I have, it's falling. It's in a bad shape, and that's just the chickens coming home to roost. That's Great Britain reaping what they've sowed around the world, and it's coming back to them. And I hate to see it happen, but that's what it is.
So, what do you, if you were advising the Nigerian government, what do you think they can do to address the issue of Biafra, and how do you think they can approach it, which they haven't done before?
All that the Nigerian government can do that would be beneficial to Biafrans or any human being is to abdicate and disband and let the people build something that actually reflects the people and serves the people. There is nothing this system, this regime, this constitution, this government can do that will yield any benefit. It is designed to fail. It is designed to keep the people down. It is designed to keep the power in the hands of the North, the caliphate. And so there's nothing they can do. So I think it's a worthless energy to say, oh, Tinubu could do this or that. It's not going to happen.
I am a great believer in a united Nigeria that works for everyone, where each citizen feels a sense of belonging. I want to rephrase that question. What do you think can be done to keep a united Nigeria where every citizen feels a sense of belonging that addresses the aspiration and yearning of the Biafra people within the Nigerian state?
Yeah, and I believe, and if you, again, Biafrans are very rightly, very passionately wanting separation. But if you go back to before they seceded, the Aburi Accord had a good framework, in fact. First, I will say that I don't believe there's any way possible for a Sharia state to have unity with a non-Sharia state. I don't believe that within the boundaries that are called Nigeria today, there can and ever will be any unity. It's the question of who leaves or who is forced to leave. Okay, and if there's ever to be peace, and if there's ever to be equality, if there's ever to be hope in the land called Nigeria, there can be no Sharia. Period. It's a separate legal system. It's the oil and water. It's incompatible. But for the others, I actually advocate for a what I call a covenant republic framework, a loose federation, driven by the original nations, driven by the people, that exists as much as it's federated for the purpose of enforcing human rights and free trade and good relationships. But within that, autonomous kingdoms, autonomous regions, autonomous states, nations that are able to manifest the traditions and the best aspects of their unique cultures. Let them do it their way and see the greatness that emerges. But if you try to say, okay, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Fula, you all got to get together and do things together, that's not going to happen. But only if it's the common ground of human rights, fairness, freedom, justice. That's what all human beings of conscience can stand together on, and that's the only basis for unity. But that's not going to happen as long as there's Sharia states. What I would do is make it an opt-in covenant. So if this is the framework, the regions can opt into it. They can also opt out. But if you're not going to subscribe to the covenant, you're not welcome. If you're Sharia, you're not welcome. It's not going to ever happen. It can't happen. You can't mix oil and water. You can't have somebody that wants to live free with somebody that wants to kill them based on their faith and their religion. They believe they're doing Allah's will by cutting off the heads of the apostates and the infidels. That is not compatible. So those people and the states that adhere to that must be removed until and unless they reform and want to come back.